Skynet is real, at least according to Teal Swan and a lot of her followers. I recently found a clip of Teal on a podcast where she says that AI will kill us all. And now I make jokes all the time about Skynet and the Terminator movies, for those that don't know what Skynet is. And when I was younger, I genuinely believed this, like Skynet would be a real thing. So how does someone who I normally see super reasonable, pretty spot on with almost everything she says, come up with AI is going to kill us?
Too many movies?
This is a logical woman who's been through a lot in her lifetime and knows a lot, is a reasonable person, pretty smart. I would put her up there close to you, like with the things she knows. I mean, I don't know her personally, but the things that she shares and teaches. So really, like, what's up with this? Is AI really going to kill us?
I agree. Teal's pretty awesome and has a lot of good takes, but she's still human and still susceptible to fear and, overactive imaginations and stuff. I don't think she magically avoids those things. So everyone really just ends up joining one side, one camp, right? For most things, for a lot of things, there's one side and the other side. There's one polarity and the other polarity. There's love or there's fear.
Yes. Most people think it's right and wrong, but yes.
Or right and left.
Right. Right and left. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. And so even if things are more nuanced, what are the chances that someone's going to end up in one of these camps? The AI is saving us all camp, or the AI is ruining us all camp?
Well, most people fall into one or the other, obviously.
Right. So it sounds like you're in the AI will save us camp.
Actually, I haven't made up my mind.
Oh, good. That's more nuanced than just jumping to one side.
Well, that's why we're talking about this today, right?
Sure.
So I have used ChatGPT for prompts and to take my long copy and make it shorter and use it in different voices and stuff. Like I played with it. It's pretty cool. However, I really did believe that Skynet would be a thing for many years.
Well, I think China has something similar to Skynet.
Yeah, they do.
So this is why a lot of people come to the conclusion that Skynet is real and AI will destroy us all.
Right.
Because they already can see the Skynet in China.
Right. And in the movie, like, Skynet became free thinking.
Sentient,
right? So it didn't need a human to control it. And like in the comments, I read a bunch of comments, and like a nurse said that they use AI for diagnosing people when they go through triage. And she said, like, this is kindergarten AI compared to what the government, the things that we don't even know. If they can do this little things, imagine like the big scale of what it can do.
Sure.
Do you think, and I know this is just your opinion or whatever, but do you think that artificial intelligence can really become sentient?
So to me, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
For a minute, take your mind back to caveman times, Neanderthal times, and imagine Nog, Grog, Zog, and Urduk.
Got these names. Okay.
Sitting around discussing Urduk's new invention of fire.
Right.
And so all is going fine until Nog burns himself.
Right.
And it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden, what happens to the group?
They become divided.
Right.
Some love the fire for what it does with the food, and some hate it for what it does to Zog.
Nog, but yes.
Nog, my bad.
Yes.
His first name, Egg?
We can say it is.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Right. So what we have is this incredible human invention that could revolutionize human evolution for years to come. Mm-hmm. And you've got half the group saying it's terrible. It's going to ruin everything. It's going to destroy all of us. It's going to burn our families and our forests and our crops and whatever, right?
Right.
We're all going to starve and die in a forest fire because you created this.
Right.
Urduk.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, take your mind forward to the Dark Ages, medieval times, when all the scribes are gathered around and they're oohing and awing at the invention of the printing press.
Okay.
Or copyable documents or something.
Sure.
Maybe it's the end of the Dark Ages or whatever.
It's one of those things where you put the carbon copy between and then you write it in copies.
Yeah, whatever. Just some printing press type invention.
Yes.
How do they feel about this printing press? Right? You've got St. Augustine and St. Peter and St. Francis.
Oh,
and
they probably feel like
all
their
these
jobs
scribes.
are being taken away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But some of them think, maybe half of them think, oh, this new technology will allow us to reach our flock and save us tons of writing time and scribing time. My hands are going to be better. And
Yeah, they'll see it as a great invention
sure.
to help.
And half of the group is going to say,
It's taking away our jobs.
This is the
terrible
downfall
bad. This is the downfall of writing
of
and books.
society.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the downfall of the world.
Yes.
They won't say just writing in books.
No,
they
the
will,
world.
They will get super dramatic. They will pick their side and they will fear-monger till the cows come home.
They will call that Skynet.
Then take your mind forward even further to when we split the atom. We get the atom bomb, we get nuclear power, all this kind of stuff. Half of the people, the scientists or whoever, the investors, the society, are saying what about nuclear power?
Oh, that's the end of the world.
Right.
Well, half of them say it's a great thing. It's wonderful. This is forward movement.
Yeah, we could get so much done.
Yeah.
We're going to provide power to every city on Earth. This is going to be incredible. Nuclear power is going to change everything.
Yes.
We've been settling for steam engines and electricity and like whatever, hydro and stuff, but nuclear power is going to be game changing.
Right.
And the other half?
It's the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's the end of the world. We're going to die.
Yeah, we're going to nuke everybody.
Yeah.
We're going to kill everybody. This technology that you have invented, sir, is the worst. And we should all fear it.
Fair play.
So are you noticing a pattern?
Yes.
What is the pattern?
Yes. That some people will think it's innovative and helpful, and some people will hate it and think it's the end of the world.
Right. But how many times has the world ended since?
Never.
Oh, so every single time it was just innovative. Like they were all wrong. Literally, the guys who hated fire, wrong. The guys who hated the printing press, wrong. The guys who hated nuclear power, wrong.
Yeah. So I was going to make the argument of the dinosaurs, but they didn't die by fire, and neither did the cave people. So,
or inventions. I don't think the raptors were big on inventing things. It was mostly humans.
Yes. So, okay.
But can we focus? What has happened every single time there were two sides debating the innovation of new technology?
The technology
was never, ever, ever, ever bad.
No.
Not one example.
It didn't kill us ever.
Not one example throughout all history.
No.
The world has never ended.
No.
Technology has never brought anyone down.
No.
It can be used poorly. Like you can make a nuclear bomb, an atom bomb.
Yeah.
You can use the printing press to besmirch some politician's name, some ruler's name, and dethrone a good man.
Yeah, make propaganda.
You can use fire to commit arson.
No.
But overall, has the innovative tech ever really been the downfall of much at all?
No. Okay.
Instead, it just takes the humanity forward by like a gajillion times. And everyone's life improves to some insane degree.
Each time our life has improved and moved forward. So one of the things that she said that would happen, this her prediction, is that AI will detect patterns in humans. Like, so this is something I'm actually quite obsessed with, is the patterns that humans display.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with breaking them.
We are all ruled by our pattern, all of us. Even the people who are like, not me. Yes, even you. We all are. And so I'm fascinated by what people do. But I understand the thought of AI is going to detect the pattern, see that humans are a problem, and fix the problem, right? But even though I think Skynet is real or could be, I believe it could be real. But I wanted to come to this conversation to pick a side, like basically, right?
Well, you could pick the side of every tech innovation has taken humanity forward every single time and never results in the end of society, despite everyone claiming it.
Yeah.
You could take that side. Or you could take Teal's side, which is fire bad, nuclear power bad, computers bad, printing press bad. This is the end of the world. AI is going to do it too.
So I'm just going to pretend for now that I'm on Teal's side because, you know me, I like to know both sides.
Devil's advocate's great, but as long as you know what you're doing.
Yes. So never before has any of those inventions been smart. They needed a human to run them. AI runs itself.
Okay, so let's stick with this, okay?
Okay.
So do we have guided missiles?
Yes.
Okay. Do guided missiles fly themselves?
Yes.
Okay. But does a human have to input something, like input some kind of human input before they get the output of the guided missile.
Yes.
Okay. And does sometimes the guided missile glitch or something screws up or something goes wrong in the environment or the atmosphere or something goes wrong with the human input and the guided missile ends up taking out something it should not have?
Yes.
Okay. So guided missiles are powerful and they could be used from like far away to clear out a mine or something, but they could also be used to take out an orphanage.
Right.
But it's the human input at the beginning, all along the journey of this invention that decides that.
Right.
So humans control tools.
Yes.
Okay. Now AIs are built off of what? How do you train an AI? Like the AI starts basically crippled. Like the AI is brain dead.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
The AI is a toddler. The AI is...
Yeah, it needs human input. It needs a prompt.
Well, yeah. But even if you put in a prompt, like if I train two AIs and I show one AI a bunch of Disney cartoons and I show another AI a bunch of Pornhub videos and I give them both a prompt, draw a furry little animal, one of them is going to get me a cartoon furry and the other one's going to get me
sexy furry,
an X-rated furry.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not the prompt that's controlling the AI. I mean, the prompt is part of it and that is human input. But what's the even bigger, more important human input?
Showing them the videos and the porn.
Yeah. So the data set.
Yeah.
The language model, the data model, whatever you call it.
Right.
Right. There's a whole bunch of AIs out there that do a whole bunch of things. One does voice replication. One does image generation. One does copywriting.
Right.
Because they're all trained on different data sets. AI takes a lot of power. Power is not infinite.
No.
So when people make an AI, they have to be very choosy about how much power they use and how they train the AI and what data set they put in to get the good results. Right?
Yeah.
So someone could train an AI on how to commit terrible crimes if they wanted to. And I'm sure that AI would become quite good at committing terrible crimes.
Yeah.
Someone else could train an AI on fun dances. And I'm sure that AI would become good at fun dances.
Right.
But in all those cases, the AI is getting data from somewhere.
Yes.
Is it getting it by itself?
No.
So like the guided missile, the humans are putting in the input,
right,
and the AI gives the output. And like every other tool, fire, the printing press, nuclear power, computers, humans are deciding how these tools are used.
True.
Even the best tools, the smartest tools, our newfound AI tools still rely on human input. They rely on it for prompts and they rely on it for the data sets.
True.
So far. Right. Now, someone watching this is going to pipe up and say, what about when they become smart enough to find their own data sets?
This is where I was gonna say something. But before that, I just want to throw something out to the audience that if you're wondering now what this has to do with mental health, as somebody who used to be extremely paranoid over everything and everyone, especially this actual topic, that's why one of the reasons I chose it, especially because Teal Swan is someone who works with mental health. And the fact that she's talking about this, it leads me to wonder about paranoia and all that stuff. So I just want to throw that out there because we didn't talk about that yet. So.
Yeah, if one of your mental health idols is like fear-mongering and paranoid for no reason, that's kind of a major issue.
Right.
Hashtag keep the gurus honest.
Yes, exactly.
But if one of your mental health idols is predicting something important and dangerous that you should look out for, and they're right, then this is also important. So yes. I get why you would want to dig into this.
Thank you.
And hopefully anyone else who experiences any kind of anxiety or stress regarding AI will also benefit from this.
Yes, agree.
I mean, I feel like this is some of the best conversations I've ever heard on AI so far.
Yeah.
And it's not nearly as boring as like all the tech geeks discussing it. So.
No, totally. Okay, so I want to bring it back to what we're talking about.
Right.
So my next question was going to be, okay,
what about all that starts finding its own data?
All that's lovely, and you are correct with humans putting it in, but Skynet centers around AI becoming sentient.
But does it though? Because someone put some human input went into making that thing.
Yes.
Someone thought, this is a good idea. I'm going to program an AI to go find its own data and start coming to its own conclusions and start living its own life. And I'm going to create a new life form, even if it turns on me. Someone had to do that.
Yes.
That's not AI's fault.
No.
That's the crazy human's fault.
I never thought of it that way.
And so just like a nuclear bomb,
right?
The bomb didn't do anything. The bomb just sitting there in a hangar, in a bay.
Yeah.
Some human had to launch that. A human being had to take that tool and make it do that crap. And here we are on the verge of new AI, a new innovation, just like we had fire, and someone could go take it and use it to create arson if they want.
Yes.
Right. But the fire is not the problem and never has been the problem. If you raise a civilization that is suicidal and self-destructive and they want to create an AI that will take over, they will. But you should be blaming the people, the civilization, the humans. It takes a complete idiot to go burn their own village down. And it takes a complete idiot society to go destroy their own civilization.
Airplay, yeah.
Why would anyone make this? And if they do, you don't think the rest of the world can put the kibosh on it? You think one lone wolf is going to nuke bomb the world? No one's going to put a stop to it? Hitler tried that. Everyone united and took him out, man. AI takes a lot of power. Even if they made one tiny sentient AI in a lab, it's not going to magically outpower all of humanity.
Okay, but in the movie, and I know it's just a movie, I know it's, but
the movie doesn't cover power.
No. So, but in the movie, like one AI becomes sentient, connects to all of the machines in the entire world.
Right.
And so that one sentient being makes everyone at once become...
And you don't think someone like Musk, who's super paranoid about AI, would put the kibosh on that? He has more than enough power, more than enough video card farms, AI farms. Like, the dude's got his own stuff. Like, it's going to be battle of the AIs, just like it's battle of the arsonists. Like, there's the fire department and there's the arsonists. You don't think society's going to win? It's a joke. There's always this fight over some new technology, and no one ever has faith in humanity except me. Chumps every time, man. I'm honestly tired of people seeing so unclearly. They are so foggy in their vision. Like, I have the thickest prescription ever, but I see everything so clearly, and I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of people making shit choices, living in fear, veering away from their dreams when they could have it all. They could have an incredible world. And AI is clearly our best invention in a bajillion years.
I agree. I think it's really cool.
Nog, Zog, and Grog would be like, dude, Urduck would be off the charts. And then we have generally sharp, wise, sane people like Teal Swan, fear-mongering. That's a big audience she has. And now they're all scared of AI. But it's still a good thing, because maybe her putting the fear of AI into some of those people, they might be coders, they might be engineers, they might be the next people who are going to make sure AI stays in control, like all of our tools. That's why we have gun control and fire departments and all these things we have to make sure stuff doesn't go wrong. We have redundancies and cooling systems for nuclear power plants, and we have all these kind of things. They came because someone cared and someone was fearful. So it's still good, but they could just be chill about it. They could be like, you know what? Just like we set up safeguards for all these other technologies, we'll do that again. You don't have to do it out of like panic.
I really like what you just said, actually. So this is maybe a side thing. I don't know. I really liked what you said about the fear. So most of us are afraid of something at some point, right?
I see it all the time.
So I've been afraid of lots of things over in my life, right? And I mentioned earlier, I had a lot of issues with paranoia. In the last 10 years, I've dealt with a lot of those internal issues about why I'm paranoid or why I was paranoid. And this kind of thing is perfect to kind of trigger that in me, right? But you said the fear is what caused people to put safety precautions. Now, that fear can go like super overboard.
Usually does.
And you can find those, like the people who are, and I feel for them so much, the agoraphobia, who are afraid to leave their home and afraid. I suffered from that also, just touches when I was going through postpartum depression. Anyway, but I love what you said, because you can take the fear and make something good of it. And so this is something that you preach over and over. If you go through all of our episodes, you'll see most of them we're talking about turning something negative into a positive. And so for people who are worried or scared about AI or unsure, I saw some lady said in the comments, like, it wouldn't bother her but she has kids. And so, like, taking the
Does she let her kids swim?
I don't know.
Life jackets.
Right.
Life jackets.
Yeah. And so the fear, we can dwell in the fear and think, oh, this could happen, or this could happen, or this could happen. Or we can remember that other paranoid, fearful people have discovered ways to help us. fear of fire. Well, we have fire extinguishers. We have fire blankets. We have those ladders that you can throw out your window if you need to escape from your house. Like, and fire trucks, firemen. Like, there's, like you said, life jackets for kids who can't swim or who are never taught to swim. Like, there are paranoid people or fearful people that have turned their fears into something to help us. And this is a very good way to look at this. So actually, I feel a little calmer after you said that, because I know that there's no way Elon Musk and Bill Gates and all the other powers to be out there are going to allow AI to take over. Not in the Skynet way. They may allow it to take over to help us get, what does Elon want to do? Land on Mars and build on Mars or whatever? Like, maybe that, like, he can use it for that stuff.
Yeah, and the only people who are going to do that are some lone wolf crazy person who tries to build an AI, but they won't have an army of power grids to take over. They'll have one tiny little mean AI. Yeah. They're going to lose to all of the rest of civilization. And if they ever do get as big as Hitler, everyone will unite and stop them again.
Okay.
Like, we've been here before.
Right. We have.
You know how it's going to go.
Yes.
It's not hard to predict. So I don't get why people predict the end of civilization when it's so obviously going to go the same way it has gone through all other technological inventions.
Well,
it's a very reliable pattern.
I have realized something, and I may have said this on the podcast before, that every generation in this world thinks that this world is going to end. This is the end of the world. They thought it in the 60s with the Vietnam War, and then after with Nixon and all, like, the stuff going into the 70s. And in the 80s, people thought it was the end of the world because of AIDS and gay people and gay marriage. And then, and also...
It's always the end of the world.
Well, yeah. And then they thought it was the end of the world with 9/11 and all the wars in between, right? And so every generation is afraid this is the end of the world. And so right now, people are thinking it's terrible, bad, Trump and wars all in the Ukraine and Palestine and now AI, and this is the end of the world. But it's never ended because of any of this stuff.
Well, and I'm not saying to ignore it.
No.
But I'm just saying we're going to handle it like we always handle it. So it would be nice if everyone joined me in a more sane, level-headed approach instead of just throwing around crazy rhetoric and paranoid conspiracy theories.
Right.
Just
exactly.
Buckle down, do your shit, and we're going to handle it.
I totally agree. And I think that people who let this affect their mental health really need to remember all of that we just said. Like, I would like for you all to download this episode and keep it every time that you get paranoid and worried to watch and remember that the world has not ended because of technology and change. And so I want to go back to something we talked about a few minutes ago. Teal Swans, or any of the gurus who are talking about this topic that are fear-mongering, don't you think they have a responsibility to not do that, especially with the technology and things that they don't know? If Skynet had already started and the world was being taken over and that was actually happening, like, okay, maybe, but don't you think that she has some sort of responsibility to think about the mental health, the people that she helps?
So I think I threw that word around earlier, but I don't really mean it.
Okay.
The responsibility isn't to speak out the right thing, because no one speaks out the right thing all the time. And if you get picky with people and start nitpicking everything they say wrong, then everyone's going to nitpick what you say wrong. And trust me, it's a lot. Like, we all say many wrong things. It's much better just to let people say their piece and then seek understanding or try to see what's behind it or see where they're coming from, and then ask questions and have an open discussion. And eventually you'll come to some sort of understanding, or at least agree to disagree or whatever, rather than point fingers and call them wrong. And so even when I do the Keep Gurus Honest clips, I'm pretty gentle about it.
Yeah, you're nicer than I would be.
I make allowances and, I try to get where they're coming from. Yeah. And then I speak out my correction, kind of like I'm doing here. And so to me, Eminem doesn't have responsibility to say all the nicest things in his raps in case he influences people. Video games don't have a responsibility to leave violence out of it so no one ever sees a violent act ever.
Right.
Hollywood doesn't have a responsibility to make sure they avoid using sex to sell. Like, that's what people want to see on screen, beautiful people or arousing sights and stuff. Like, I don't think anyone has a responsibility to speak or act in any particular way, right? But there are consequences. So the dude who invents nuclear power plants, the consequences are a lot of humanity is benefiting from this.
Right.
The dude who invented the nuclear bomb, there are consequences to this too. I don't think either of them had a responsibility. Like, you know, use your gifts, do what you want. Someone paid you, hired you to do something. But if you work for a villain or someone aggressive looking to harm others, there are consequences to that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So people have to make their decisions. Do I want the consequences of my choices? Do I want the consequences of what I'm choosing to do?
Yeah, we even do this. We talk about consequences of our opinions when we do keep gurus honest, or when I talked about the Mel Robbins video, or
yeah, there will be consequences.
Yeah, no, and so doing this with our eyes open, our eyes wide open. I told Jay earlier, if I had two, I would have two eyes wide open. I love you. That's not the promo. So anyway, so it makes sense.
Right. So the consequences of Teal doing this is she speaks her truth. That's one consequence.
Right.
Which is a good consequence. She makes people aware that, like all tech innovations, there are things to watch out for. Could also be a good consequence. But there's a third consequence. She makes everybody crazy, insane, paranoid.
Yeah. That's true.
There's consequences.
That's true.
There's consequences. I'm saying different things here on this podcast. What are the consequences of what I'm saying? Well, we get a level-headed approach and an opposing perspective to Teal. And the way I outlined all historical innovations could be reassuring.
Yes, it was for me.
Yeah, my factoring in how all tech gets safeguards by smart people in society so that we can all use the tools without worry. The consequences, hopefully, are even more reassurance.
Right. Yeah.
And so people are feeling calmer and more reassured and more secure, and they can have more trust in themselves and humanity as a whole and the future and so on. So there are consequences, right?
Right.
Sometimes I speak a harsh truth and the consequence is people get mad at me or flee from me or run or hide in their little hole or whatever. It happens all the time. But there are other consequences too. They are not blind anymore. They are more aware of the choice that they're faced with.
Yeah.
Even if they choose wrong or like not in their best interest, the next time they encounter that subject, they're going to remember the first time that I spoke it out to them.
Yes.
And so with enough screw ups, someone's going to make a better choice.
True.
And so my speaking the truth contributes to one of those screw ups. So whether you're a small, tiny creator with a tiny platform or a massive, famous creator with a giant platform, hopefully you're just speaking your truth and letting the chips fall where they may. That's how all these people succeeded and how they got famous. And I don't think they should stop doing that now. It's bizarre. Why would you like speak your truth when you're at 100 followers and then at 1,000 followers and then 10,000 and then 1 million and now you have 1 billion and now no more truth speaking, man. That ain't right. I have a responsibility now. Now people rely on me and I have 1 billion followers and I could ruin the world with 2 words and I have so much power. I absolutely should stop speaking my truth at this point. This is the suggestions people make. Yeah. They're fine with you when you're little. Yep. And then if you speak your truth when you're big, they're furious and they think you're a villain and you think you're the worst person on earth. It's like a little truth ain't hurt anybody, man. Even if the speaker is incorrect. Like I believe Teal is just flat out wrong.
Yeah.
And we could talk it out, whatever, or we could agree to disagree, but I'm not going to tell her to stop speaking her truth. No. It's what got her to where she is. Right. And it's what we should all be aiming for. And I don't want her thinking like, oh, I have to walk on eggshells. I have so much responsibility now as a responsible creator. I don't want Eminem singing or rapping like super gentle woke stuff because he's scared. Oh, I have a responsibility now. All these kids are listening. This is insane. This will pull all the humanity and soul and realness and truth out of every individual. Like I said, if some little dude wants to make his tiny little mean AI, go ahead, man. Just like if an arsonist wants to commit arson, go ahead. Right. I can't stop this. That's people's free will. That's their freedom. That's their choice. If they want to misuse a tool, they can. But it never works out, does it? There's really never a story of like, dude committed the biggest crime of the century. He was the next Stalin, the next whatever, and he just won.
No.
Right? It never works out.
Yeah. All right. Fair play.
Right?
Yeah.
the Unabomber, and you could be like, well, what about the ones that we never heard of and they got away with it? I'm like, well, if they got away with it and we've never heard of them, they haven't really succeeded that big, have they?
Yeah, right. That's very true.
They got away with making their tiny little mean tool and they hurt somebody with it and got away. Great.
Right.
Like, it's like is it the Catch Me With If You Can guy? The guy who got away with a bunch of federal money or something?
Yeah, Catch Me If You Can.
Right.
Tom Hanks movie.
Right. But it was like $1 million or like a few million, or I don't know what it is, like $1 billion. Like,
yeah, it wasn't a tremendous
it's
amount of money
peanuts
because he was a
compared
child.
to the economy. Like, like we're going to have trillionaires soon. Like, he was a blip in history. It's nothing.
Right.
None of these people have done anything. So if you want to misuse your platform or fearmonger others or commit some petty little crime or try to get away with a big crime, like, even if you want to follow those great dictators of the world who like did so much, you're just signing up for misery, man. Like, this ain't going to work for you. It never pays off.
Fair enough.
Like, the whole crime doesn't pay thing, it really doesn't.
No, it does not. It's not worth it.
And even the ones who get away with it live in fear or like looking over their shoulder, or like their health is bad and their stress is up and their cortisol's up and they die at an early age. It's like, why would you do this, man? Seriously, what are you doing? And so now we have AI, this great tool, and people think somehow it's going to go bad. And I'm like, it's not. And even the people who try to use it poorly, they're still screwed.
Yeah. So, but there will be people who try to use AI to harm others.
Sure. And people misuse the printing press, and people misuse nuclear power, and people misuse fire, and people misuse guns and guided missiles and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Like, yeah, whatever. Has that ever stopped humanity before? Should it stop humanity now? Like, bringing it up is such a weird thing, right? It's a weird thing. It's kind of like saying, if you prepare food, it's possible to cut yourself. I've seen people use kitchen knives to commit murder.
Yeah.
Okay. So I should not cook? What?
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing to bring up. And it's something only a paranoid, fear-based, anxious mind is going to focus on. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So then you have a bigger problem. You have a much bigger problem than someone might use a kitchen knife. You have a way bigger problem. You have a paranoid, anxious, insecure, guarded mind. That's going to F you up for life, man.
Okay. So then I need to know about...
You got to trust life.
Fair play. And I get you. But what about these deep fakes, right? These are people who take... Like, we can't trust anymore a lot of videos that are on the internet.
Perfect.
Okay.
Do you believe that the world has lost a lot of critical thinking skills?
Yes.
Do you believe we've raised generations that have the least critical thinking skills possible?
Yes.
Have you ever seen me get mad when someone does not think critically like I do and is unable to see the obvious truths in front of them?
Yes.
And has it seemed like this trend is ever going to stop, or has it just been getting worse and worse and worse?
Honestly, I think it's just getting worse.
Right. So what would nature do to correct that if humanity won't start thinking critically themselves?
It will make them.
Right. A species that doesn't think critically, destined for destruction.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So we need COVID. We need disinformation. We need Trumps and rhetoric and deep fakes and AIs and persuasive people and scammers. And we need all kinds of this stuff. Do you know why? Do you know what happens when the world is flooded with this?
Will it eliminate the dumbasses?
So do you get strong if everything is hand-fed and spoon-fed to you? Or do you get strong when you have to go do your own work, hunt your own stuff, build your own house? Like,
no, you get strong when you do your own
thing.
Yeah.
So you get strong when conditions are hard. When they're comfortable, and your people are seeking comfort, and they're getting Amazon drones delivering, spoon feeding them everything.
Yeah.
They're giant blobs. They are not strong. They're not strong mentally or physically.
Right.
When the conditions are soft.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. When conditions are hard, people automatically are forced by life or nature to become stronger human beings.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Hardship builds character. Suffering builds character. Challenges build character. If you want to be a person of good character, what is essential?
To go through a lot of hard times.
Right. The best people are the ones who welcome those and go through them with a happy heart, making bold choices. But if we have generations of people who have no critical thinking skills, their critical thinking muscles are weak, they are not strong, and they're continually being served up comfortable narratives, comfortable ideas, comfortable things that they can just agree with without thinking by their comfortable idols, they will continue to get weak. And so how would nature correct this? Would it correct it by giving you more reliable narratives from great people who you can just agree with? Or will it correct it by giving you a struggle environment where there's so much disinformation, you are forced to become a better thinker, to become a better judge of character, to discern better, to think more critically.
Yeah.
What's nature going to do?
It's going to do that. It's going to give you hard times. And
right.
So you will start to think critically.
Right. So if I see generation after generation becoming worse at critical thinking, what can I expect nature to do pretty soon?
Take care of it and give everyone a hard time so that they learn critical thinking skills.
Yeah. Otherwise the species dies.
Yeah.
A species with no critical thinking is dead. It's done.
Yeah.
Even animals can think critically about what is the right thing to do or instinctually. Like, at least they're making intelligent decisions.
True.
Are you seeing a whole lot of that around?
No.
Are your family making intelligent decisions? Are you making intelligent decisions? Are your friends? Are the businesses? Are the clients? Like, is even Teal Swan's fear-mongering an intelligent decision?
Well, yeah. If you look
Has she thought that through critically?
I don't think so.
Or did she just knee-jerk because she watched Terminator once?
Yeah, I think it feels like, I could be wrong. Maybe she's thought about this for a million years. I don't know. Feel like it's just a knee-jerk lack of critical thinking, but that could be why it feels off to me.
Well, either way,
weird to me from her.
Either way, even if she did think it through, she should watch my video because I thought it through better. Like, we need some good critical thinking. The world needs it.
Yeah.
So everyone's going to be peppered with deep fakes until they wise up and stop believing everything they see and hear. Right?
True. Yeah.
Critical thinkers do not believe everything they see and hear, but most of our generation does. Most of the next generation does. So we got to nip it in the bud. Nature's got to set this up. And so AI bringing a ton of deep fakes, this is fantastic.
All right. Fair play.
And it's going to make people better and stronger. And so most people run from hardship. They think every challenge that ever comes is a bad thing. They want the most comfortable life in their comfort zones that they could possibly ever imagine, but they're just flat wrong. And if you don't choose the challenges on purpose, nature will give you the challenges to keep evolution moving forward.
All right. Fair enough.
And the people who aren't up to the challenge aren't going to procreate, and they're not going to last, and they're not going to breed. They're going to get swindled by deepfakes and lose all their money and lose their health and lose all kinds of stuff.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah. Start smartening up right now.
So do you know, is there a way, okay, so even if we're thinking critically, how is there a way to look at a video of people doing things that aren't real and know that this isn't real? Like, do you have any tips or tricks for us?
Yeah. So it comes back to the safeguards I was talking about. When a new technology comes around, the safeguards always come a little bit later.
Okay.
Right? People don't usually create fire safety until a few people have been burned.
Sure. Fair enough.
Sucks. That's how it is.
Right. Yeah.
It'd be nice if people had foresight and they developed the safeguards ahead of time.
Right.
But it's kind of weird for Nog to develop a safeguard when Urduk hasn't even introduced fire. And it's also weird for him to set up a safeguard when it's the first day of fire.
Yeah.
So AI is the new fire. Deepfakes is the new fire. And it's really the first day. Like, it's not, society doesn't move this fast. It's not like, oh, AI's here, everyone make safeguards. That's not how things work.
Okay.
It's never how things work.
Okay.
They need to see people get burned by it a bit first.
Right.
Children have to swallow choking hazards before you get the little message on the toys, right?
Yeah. Yes.
The warning on the toys.
Yeah.
Right. So someone's going to have to get burned by deep fakes, or 2 or 3 important people are going to have to get burned by deep fakes before you get the safeguards. But then what are they going to be inspired to create?
Safeguards?
I've made my deep fake detector and it's the world's best.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
No.
People are going to get smart.
Yeah, they turn the negative and the fear into the positive thing that's going to protect people.
And the safeguards always come after a few important people or like many small voices speak up. So whatever. Does it happen this year? Does it happen next year? Does it happen in 5 years? Like, I don't know. I don't care. Like, I'm smart. I'm a critical thinker. As long as I'm not getting swindled by deep fakes, I'm not too fussed about it. Now, if I get swindled, I might be the next person to invent the safeguard,
right?
The detector.
Yeah.
So either way, you win. We win. Either I don't get swindled, or I do, and I start up a cause and a petition, and now I'm head of the deep fake detection squad. Like, whatever. But this is how it goes. This is how it always goes. And it's super weird for people to try to fight this cycle or this pattern because it's a healthy pattern. Invent something new. A few people take it past its limits or disrespect the new technology. Unpleasant consequences occur. A bunch of the rest of humanity, or maybe even the original people themselves, come up with safeguards. And now we're all free to use the technology pretty safely. We can all cook food. We can all use kitchen knives. We can all set up fires as long as you perform proper safeguards. There you go. As usual, criminals can always misuse it, but it doesn't really matter.
True. Yeah. All right. That's fair enough. I mean, I agree with all this, and I'm really glad that we started talking about it today. And I'm glad that Teal Swan also talked about it, because she inspired this conversation. I think I'm still not sure I have an answer to my question, not from you, my own, do I believe this? What do I feel about AI? Because I see the positives. I see how it can help us and grow, and how it will continue. I know that one of the arguments is we don't know what the government is using this for, and that they could hurt us in some way, spy on us, hurt us, control us.
Yeah, but like any dictator, what will happen? When anyone in position of power rules over the underclasses for too long, too obviously, with too much power or too many big tools, what happens? What happened to some of the greatest dictators in the world?
Usually there's revolutions, and there are guerrillas,
right?
Or whatever they're
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are revolutions. There are revolts.
Yeah.
Yeah. The masses unify. The other countries unify.
True.
Always. And then the single dictator always loses. And it doesn't matter if the single dictator has all the power in the world. They always do. They have all the money. They have all the guards. They have all the security. They've bribed everybody. They've paid everybody. They have all the political connections, and they always lose.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you have critical thinking and you look at the patterns throughout history, what is a more sensible take? This will be the one exception in history to the pattern ever, and humanity is doomed, and I'm right. My fear-mongering is correct. Or everything Jay kind of laid out is insanely logical, ridiculously truthful, entirely backed up by thousands of years of history, and we should probably all just chill about the new technology. Which is the healthier take?
No, I
Can
agree.
we use our critical thinking?
Yeah, we can.
Right.
Everything you said.
Which side has thought this through better? Which one makes more sense? Because you have to choose something in your own head. No one's going to make you speak out, I'm on this side or I'm on that side. But in your own head, you have to come to some conclusions.
Right.
Because the brain doesn't like unknowns. People hate unknowns. They're super scared of them.
Well, that's what the whole thing is about, is people are scared of this because they don't know.
Right. And so the anxiety will remain until you deal with the unknown.
Right.
And so to deal with the unknown, you either become like a Buddha and just make peace with the unknown. Mm-hmm. This is actually one of the most impressive things to do.
Right.
And then the anxiety will go away. Or you run from the unknown into some safe comfort zone, abandoning critical thinking. Or you think through the unknown critically, come to a positive approach to it or a positive form of action, and conduct yourself accordingly with trust, right? Trusting in the outcome, trusting in life, trusting in yourself to navigate it.
Right. Yeah.
So, out of all these choices.
Well, you made a compelling case for sure. And I agree with you that this looks like it's going to probably head in the same direction as every other technological advancement.
It's almost a certainty.
Yeah. And I would agree. It's almost a certainty. However, there is that little side in my head, that little voice that's like, yeah, but Skynet.
Sure.
And so I know I'm not stupid. I know it's a movie. I know, and I've thought critically with you here. And I'm leaning towards, after your summary, I'm leaning towards you were right and I have nothing to worry about.
But it's like 99% to 1.
Yeah.
Like the weird Hollywood fiction that didn't take any of this stuff into account and didn't think it through at all and just wanted to scare people. Like 1% chance of this madness even coming remotely true.
Right.
99% chance that everything I've just outlined will repeat again like it always does.
No.
So this is what it comes down to, critical thinking, right? Like do all of us as humans let that little 1% voice run our lives and make our choices? No. Or do we think it through and commit? Commit. You know what? I'm not going to conduct my life in fear. Everything Jay said makes sense. I'm going to approach this with a healthy mindset. I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to do my best to help the safeguard come around, but I understand if a few people need to get burned for it. I walk into this with open eyes and open arms and open heart, right?
Right. Yeah.
But Teal was not doing that.
No, she was not.
And I am.
Yes.
And so you get to choose who you want to role model. You get to choose who sounds more sane, who sounds more level-headed, who has a better take on it, who's thought it through better, who's been more critically thinking of it, who is more persuasive. Like, if you're not going to come up with your own personal conclusions, then all you're left with is discerning which of the narratives is going to benefit you most. Some people think the paranoid narrative benefits them because it keeps them safe and they're comfortable with it and they're used to being paranoid, and joining all of the other naysayers and fear-mongers feels like I belong. Like, they might choose these things. Other people might choose the truth.
Yeah.
But you got to choose which one suits you best.
Right. Well, you make it, like I said, a compelling argument for your side. And it sounds like you've thought about this.
More than everyone?
We have no notes. This was just an open conversation. This is your thoughts that you've thought on this for a while, apparently. Or
I'm a quick thinker.
Yeah, I know. And so...
And I'm not perfect, but I got a lot to offer. I bring a lot of good thinking to the table.
I agree. And I think a lot of the people who are afraid of this are afraid of being controlled. So a lot of the fear that people show from the government is they're afraid to be controlled.
Sure.
They have fear they show about the internet and pretty much everything, food even. They're afraid of being controlled.
Sure.
But if they are thinking critically and they are working on themselves, then they know that they control their lives and they have to believe in themselves and and trust that they can make the right decision.
Yeah, you can't control a critical thinker.
No.
That's the whole point. Society doesn't want critical thinkers, but most of our generation just serves up what the government wants. They want clueless, easy to manipulate people who don't think critically and just follow the party line or follow the narrative. Mm-hmm. And someone like me, who clearly thinks critically myself and then encourages others to think critically as well. And I even encourage them to disagree with me if that's what suits them. Mm-hmm. That's the last thing the government wants. So if you don't want to be controlled, critical thinking is the number one thing you can practice.
That's good. That's good. Well, thank you. This was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. I learned actually a lot. I feel less paranoid, even though I wasn't really paranoid, but it feels like something is eased. So I'm assuming it's paranoia. So anyway.
Well, could you have a conversation with Teal about AI? Or would she scare you?
No, she wouldn't scare me. And her thing didn't scare me. Actually, I laughed at it. I thought it was ridiculous that someone that I regard so highly it was like she took the critical thinking and threw it away and thought, I'm just going to be like Mel Robbins. And
yeah, well, she drank the Kool-Aid.
Like, it was a Mel Robbins moment for me when I saw this clip. And I was like, oh, no, not you. But it's all good.
Everyone can be wrong or say a wrong take, like I said.
Right. Like our audience would be wrong if they didn't go and download our book, Eyes Wide Open, Volume 1. It is the world's first self-help coffee table book. And don't be wrong. Don't be without it. Go to eyeswideopenfree.com and download your free copy today.
Plus, you get our bonus 7 deadly mental traumas and how to cure them. Quick, to the point, no fluff. It will blow your mind.
Exactly. And now he's trying to take my job. So thank you so much for your time, for the conversation, for your help. This is very helpful to me. I know it's helpful to anyone. This is probably the best conversation we've had all week. I'm so happy. Thank you. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with our amazing audience?
Think critically.
And that's why our book and this podcast are called Eyes Wide Open. After today, you will know how to navigate AI and maybe also Teal Swan's thoughts on AI and critical thinking. There's a little bonus extra in this episode about that.
And paranoia.
And paranoia. And so now you can go to this video here called Gary Vaynerchuk is Wrong. Content is not king, to help you see that other gurus can be wrong too. And to help you keep your eyes wide open.
Keep rising.